All right. So we are the top quarter of page Memvov. The line starts with the word poshut. And the question that we propose right in the beginning says Havaya hu Elikim. That Havaya and Elikim is one. And the Rebbe says, how can Havaya be the same and one with Elikim when they are so different? That Shem Havaya is Blik Vul, and Shem Havaya is without any subdivisions, any parts. And in principle, Havaya and Elikim, Havaya represents the Oiros, and Elikim represents the Kelim. And Oiros and Keir is Poshut, because Oir is Mein HaMoir. And Kelim, as we're going to see, Shem Elikim is going different. So how can it be the same? Okay, so I repeated this. You with me? You remember this? Okay. The line begins with Poshut b'Yis Chalk V'Gvul. So that's the union from Havai, Oir, because Oir is Me'ein HaMoir, as we discussed at length last week.
We see more than this. We're finishing the Erech HaOlamot, now the line. We finish in the last line.
Where?
We finish in the line at the beginning, Erech HaIno, or Shelefi Erech HaOlamot. The line. In the last class. The purpose of the Kelim is reveal the order that has inside.
Oh, we're up to there, to the middle? The Fiera Ho'elamis?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you think we finished the order and he said we need to explain.
We'll explain indeed.
Yeah, okay. All right. So we're further down the middle of the page. The line begins with Ez Ha'oyer. Right, so we already learned this about the Shem Elikim, that Shem Elikim is Moker HaKelim. And the Kelim, he says, conceal the oil. Although that Kelim also reveal the oil. This is what we need to discuss. But the oil that the Kelim reveal is the oil that is lefi erech ha'olamis, that can relate to olamis. I'll tell you, even though we learned it, but as I said, we needed to go over there. I want to go back to Omnom Shem Elikim. So we'll refresh it because we need to discuss this. Okay, I'm going back to the line that begins with Poshut b'Yis Chalkus. Omnom Shem Elikim hu Moker HaKelim. However, Shem Elikim, he's the source of Kelim. And we discussed last week, previously, or even before, the whole union of Oiris v'Kelim. Kelim are a means by which you can take the oil. And the principle of Kelim, taking the oil, is like this. We said oil is me'ein hamoir. oil represents and reflects the moir. And oil is also dovuk b'hamoir. Dovuk means it's connected to the moir. You can't have oil separate from the moir. It's dovuk b'hamoir. So therefore you can have oil, when can you have oil? Only when you are in the presence of the moir. When you see the whole moir, you see oil. A keli, the idea of a keli is that you can take it and separate it. You can take a little part of it and separate it. Das meint a keli. Just like you have a lake of water. But you can't drink from the lake. You can't jump in the lake and drink. How do you drink? If you take a cup of water and separate it from the lake. It still comes from the lake, but you have to separate it and then take it in the cup and then you can drink it. Inside the lake, you have all the water, but you can't drink. This is the concept of a keli. We spoke about the different kelim in terms of light. We have the light of the sun. So we have the light itself, it's daylight. And then we have the union that the light allows you to see objects. So light itself, this is one thing with sun. But then if you want to describe what is light, if I have light, then I can see this, and I can see this, and I can see this. This is already a way of describing light as a separate, what its effect is, what it does outside, separate from the sun, how it affects things around it. So this is like a keli for light. So the idea of keli is that it shows what is contained in the light, what you can do with it. Whereas light itself is completely connected to the moir. It's pure as the moir itself. Okay? So Hashem Elokim is Moker HaKelim. The idea of Kelim is Bohem Misamtzim Misalem Oir. The idea of Kelim is that the oil becomes lessened, contracted, less bright, and actually it's Misalem, it becomes concealed. Umagbilim as oil, and therefore they can limit the oil. Shabo bebchinas hischalkus, so that the oil can be expressed in his chalkus in separate quantities, separate qualities. Chochma and Chesed. Chochma and Chesed is like an example of his chalkus. The sense of this example of Chochma and Chesed means as follows. As we already discussed a little bit before. Take it from the human being, from the human side. A human being also has Chochma and Chesed. Now, the idea that a human being has Chesed, Chochma, as we said, this is not an addition to the person. It makes sense that a human being should have Chochma. And Chesed, it makes sense you should have Chesed. Gevura, it makes sense you should have Gevura. In other words, all of these qualities that he has are really representative of what his essence is. But if you want to describe what is a human being, you can't say, oh, a human being is a human being. If you want to describe, you have to break it down into pieces. Say, oh, he has wisdom, he has chokhmah, he has bina, he has das, he has chesed, he has gvura. So these are all qualities that are representative. You know what representative means? They're representative of a human being. In other words, a human being who does not have chokhmah is missing something. It's not like a human being who doesn't have money. Doesn't have money, is still a full-fledged human being. But chokhmah and chesed, this is representative of his nefesh. If he doesn't, his nefesh is not begili. He doesn't have chokhmah and chesed. So he doesn't have human qualities. So that the chokhmah and chesed is really part of the oir of the nefesh. But the way it is in the oir, it is all one big oir of the nefesh order. But then when it comes into kelim, it is divided. You can identify it separately, the separate qualities that are contained in that oil. Such as chokhmah and chesed. And this is the concept of a keli. A means to take the oil and draw from it and identify specific qualities. This is all possible because of the keli. So therefore the kelim are limiting the oil, and they conceal and limit the oil. V'hagam the kelim d'esesphiris. Although that the kelim of esesphiris, this is speaking about the way the inyan is in Atzilus, in the higher oilam called Atzilus. And this is when you have the esesphiris. And esesphiris, there's the oil and the keli. And the kelim of the esesphiris, harei heim megalim as ha'oir ha'melubash b'seichom. They reveal the oil that is contained within them. We say that the kelim conceal the oil, but actually the kelim reveal the oil. Again, we'll have to come back to this after we have the example. As for example, the moyach sheberosh, the brain and the head, shemagale asoir haseichel hamelubash betoichei lahaskil. The moyach sheberosh, it reveals the oir haseichel that is contained there. And how does it reveal the oir haseichel? It reveals it that it makes possible lahaskil to understand. So these are all difficult concepts. Let me explain the words. Moyach sheberoish megale asoir haseichel hamelubash betoiche lahaskil. What is the meaning of these words? That the oir haseichel that is in the moyach lahaskil, that it allows him to understand. That's what seichel is. Seichel is to understand. What does it mean? It's megale oir haseichel lahaskil. Seichel is the essence of a person. When we say the person, the essence of a person is seichel. Since it's the essence of the person, so it's always there. This is the person. And yet, a person has to, in order to really know Ayin Sichli, he has to learn it and concentrate, try to and be misboinen in it until he understands it. Why is it? This is seichel, is the essence of the person. It should be automatic. Whatever seichel, he knows. You understand the question? So the answer is that really, in fact, the seichel, the way it is in the nefesh, is always understanding. But the way the seichel is in the moyach, there the moyach is a physical part of the body. Moyach is not seichel. In order that one should understand physical things, the way things that the moyach can relate to, there you have to limit the seichel and be able to identify things at the moyach level. And the moyach therefore is the instrument by which this seichel reveals itself so that you can understand things that are really not part of the seichel in essence. You understand the physical things that what the moyach is able to understand.
You mean by in the essence person know any seichel? Like any seichel that possible to exist, he's knowing the essence?
Yeah.
But to reveal the seichel, he should try like use his moach to like how it's understand how it's in Gashmius, and then he's gonna like reveal the seichel when he's need like he's know it in Gashmius.
Right. Two times 2 equals to 4, right? So this is something which you have to figure out. But after you figure it out, it says, oh, of course, I always knew it. How can it be otherwise? Right? So it's always known, but it's not known, actually, consciously. So the moyach is revealing the oyer haseichel lahaskil. Haskil means to understand things like a new thing, as if I'm understanding something new. This is what the moyach does. It draws from the seichel just this amount that allows you to understand things at the level of the moyach. V'chein ho'ayin, similarly the eye, megale as oir horiya horuchniis, reveals the oir horiya, the light, the idea, the experience, the sense of sight, the ruchnisdike sense of sight. What is the ruchnizike sense of sight? Eir ha'ri'iyah ruchnis. So, Re'iyah, we already mentioned, not in this session, in this mimer, but we spoke about Re'iyah a lot. Re'iyah is a phenomenal koyach. Sight is really a miraculous koyach. Because in sight, you actually relate and see the object, the truth of the object. That's called mahus. You see the mahus, you see the essence of the object. We explained that when you touch something, and you know that you feel that it's called, there are 5 senses: sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. Touch is the lowest one. So you think when you touch, that cannot be anything more real than touch. But really, if you think about it, you see that when you touch something, you only know how this object affects you. You don't know anything about the object itself. It affects you. It's hard, it's smooth, it's cold, it's hot, whatever it is. So in other words, you know it through your own experience. You don't know the object the way the object is unto itself. You know what impression it makes on you, how it affects you. That's not really known. That's called knowing the mitzias. It's not knowing the mahus. Re'iyah is the one sense where you know the object, you see it, without ever coming in contact with it. You don't touch it. Which means you know it not because it affects you. You know it because it exists. Because of the truth of the object itself. That's Re'iyah. This koyach Re'iyah, this is not a physical thing. Because physically, 2 things don't come together unless they touch. What is this sensation, this sense of Re'iyah? This is a koyach ruchni. The ability to relate and to see, and to know things the way they are in truth, not the way they affect me. The eye is the instrument through which this koyach Re'iyah reveals itself. Because the eye is so fine, so translucent. You know what translucent means? Transparent. Light comes into the eye just pure the way it is, doesn't get affected. And therefore the eye is a means by which this koyach Re'iyah, or ruchnis, reveals itself. So that you can actually see the truth of the object. Therefore, we see here, even though the eye is a physical entity, a physical keli, but it doesn't function like a physical keli. It doesn't have the limits of a physical keli. It actually brings out a koyach ruchni. Because I explained that physically, a physical object does not know the existence of another physical object unless it's touching it. And here, in the eye, we know the other object without coming in contact with it. So it's revealing a koyach aruchni. V'halev megala as hamidos. Similarly, the heart reveals the midos that are in the nefesh. I want to speak about midos briefly. Midos also can be misunderstood, just like in the senses. Like I said, the five senses: touch, and all the way to the ear. So we in touch, we don't know the real thing. We just know how it affects us. Midos are higher than the senses. That means that in midos, it is not. Normally, we think of midos, a person likes, loves, and hates. What does love and hate mean? At all, how it affects him. He's scared for himself, or he likes it. It makes him feel good. He likes this food. He doesn't like this food because this tastes good to him. This makes him feel good. This makes him doesn't make him feel good. This is not the Newton midos.
So what is it?
What?
It's senses?
This is right. Midas at the level of the senses. This is selfish midas. This is midas of nefesh habahamis. The real midas of nefesh, like Ahava say, he has Ahava to Elokus. Ahava to Elokus is not because it makes me feel good. It's because he's drawn to it, because he has connection to this truth, to Elokus. And the same thing really is Yir. Like the Alter Rebbe explains, Yir, there's Yiras Horeimamus, that Yir of the glory, of the greatness. The more he realizes the greatness, the more Yira he has, the more Ahava he has. This.
I don't understand why I say the left is reveal the midos. It's true the midos we can liberate always. For reveal the midos in the heart, we need first contemplating the brain, the moach.
Well,
and after revealing the heart is strong.
One second, let me explain to you. So midos, first I'm explaining what we mean by midos. Midos are true qualities in the nefesh. The nefesh actually relates to these things. The nefesh has ahava to elokus. The nefesh has yira to elokus. This is not a personal, selfish thing. This is a nefesh thing. Just like we explained in the in sight. So sight is a koyach nefesh. It's not a physical thing. It's not a reaction to something. It's a real koyach nefesh. This is why I'm able to see the truth. Midas also is a koyach nefesh. It's not because of selfish, how it's going to affect, what's going to happen to me. It's a real koyach of nefesh, real expression of a living thing, a human being, of life itself. Okay. Now, the way these midas are in the nefesh, they are on a ruchnistic level completely. They're unaffected by anything. Now, this nefesh is in the goof. The goof is not a living thing in itself. The goof is a physical, is a piece of flesh. Because the goof is a piece of flesh, this is why, in fact, when we talk about midas, we think it's all selfish. It's how he feels, what makes him feel good, what makes him feel bad, because it's goof. Just like in touch. But really, the leiv, the heart, has a real warmth, a real life experience in the heart. And this is why we say that the heart actually, actually reveals midos. It is possible in the physical heart to actually experience a midah of Ahava, a pure midah of Ahava, the way it is in the nefesh. Because in the heart there is that experience of real life, a real neshama experience, and therefore there is, just like we said in the eye, there is the eye reveals the koyach hariyah haruchnis, the heart reveals the koyach hamidah haruchnis, the way it is in the nefesh. Not selfish, not how it affects me, but the midah itself. How? Because the heart has the warmth and the life experience, and therefore he actually can feel midas, real midas, selfless midas, not for personal reasons. Okay, so this is what we're saying, that the kelim are actually revealing the koiches. We are saying first that means they conceal the koiches, but really they reveal the koiches. And just like it is in this moshel, from the physical experience of the koiches, of the moyach and the ayin and the leiv, the similar thing is lamailo in the esespheres of Atzilus. Chochma moicha. Chochma is revealed. It's called in Chochma is called moicha. Now, was the kli ha-chochma is called moich. Chesed droyo yimino. Chesed is the right hand. Shehem megalim as hoiris. So this moyach and the arms. That means the kelim of chesed, the kelim of chochma. They are megale the oir. The oiris of that are contained there in chochma and chesed. The zehu kol inyan hakelim, because really this is the whole function of kelim, shemegalim as ha'oir, but they reveal the oir, ve'ha'oir poel al yodom, and the oir has an effect, acts through them. Kiyodua, as is known, v'chanal b'nefesh, as we explained before in nefesh. What does this conclude, these few lines? That we have shown and explained that despite the fact that we are saying that the kelim conceal the oir, they really reveal the oir. And the oir is only able to function through the kelim. Just like, in order for a person to understand, the oir ha-seichel has to be in the brain. In order for a person to be able to feel, the nefesh has to be in the heart. And the oir ha-oriyah has to be in the eye. Even though the nefesh has an ear, but it has to be in the eye. That's megala, this koyach oriyah. So which is it? Is it conceal the oir or is it reveal the oir? So for this he explains, v'hinei. However, we have to know that shnei emes, that both are true. Both things that we said, that the kelim conceal the oir and reveal the oir, is both true. What does that mean? Shehei megalim as oir, that the kelim reveal the oir, v'gam ma'alimim u'mastirim al ha'oir, and at the same time they also conceal the oir. What does it mean? The ma shemegalim as ha'oir, because that what we say, that this and we say that kelim are revealing the oir, hainu oir shelefi erech ha'olam. This is not the essential oir. This is the oil, a different kind of oil. This is the oil that already has been concealed and contracted and limited. Lefi erech ha'olamis, according to the erech ha'olamis.
Then why say reveal the or? Why
Excuse me?
Why say the Rasha is reveal the or? Why not say is use the or? Is use the or for reveal the power that is in the key. Example, the eye has the power for see. If the eye has no the light or the quadrarunio that is in the brain, cannot see. Why say reveal? It's not reveal. The quadrarunio passes through the eye. We not say the quadrarunio.
What?
Why say reveal? It's not reveal the quadrarunio. The quadrarunio that comes from the brain. It's not revealed. It's only work with the power of the eye. It reveals the power of the kli.
No. It's not part of the kli. Through the kli, that's what I was saying before. The kli, it does not see. It's not the eye that sees.
So it's not the quality of the kli that they can see because drawing down the power, drawing down the quadrarunios.
Yeah. Just like the brain understands, not the brain doesn't understand anything. The brain has the koyach ha-chochma from the nefesh.
Why we say it's reveal? Understand? Why say it's
Okay.
why
So
say
there you
reveal?
right. Okay. So this is what you jumped a little bit the gun. That's what I'm going to explain. It reveals, and it says this: the oil should be erech ha'olamis, lefi erech ha'olamis. I want to explain to you a principle. We talk about erech ha'olamis. Everybody knows the word erech ha'olamis, right? In comparison, in proximity to the oilamis, oil that can exist in world. Normally, if you bring oil, then the world becomes bottle. Then you can have oil that does not make the world bottle, but it can coexist. The world can exist with this oil. Like for instance, if you bring the sun down here, there will be no earth. So much light, wonderful, terrible. But if you bring the sun and the light down millions of miles away, in a proper way, then it's wonderful. The erech ha'olamis. Like we explained all the time that when we see an object, because there is light, but what kind of light is it? It's a light that can combine with darkness, and that's how we see it. It's not pure light. You wouldn't see if it's just light. So this kind of light helps us. That's the erech ha'olamis. What is the meaning? How do we define the meaning of oilness? So the Alter Rebbe explains in Tanya that oilam, world, is essentially the union from mokim uzman. I don't want to go into great, involved discussions. I just want to point out one thing. That, let's say, the concept of mokim, of space, place. This cup exists here because it has the space and it occupies the space. But I can also move it over here, or it can also not exist. In other words, it is not something that is a must-be that exists automatically on its own. It's something that can be brought in here. At a certain time, in a certain place, it exists. This is up to oilam. And to put it in very simple terms, oilam, everything in world, is such an entity that it could be and it could also not be. anything that can be and not be can fit into world. Something that cannot have both of these states of being and not being does not fit into world. We explained before that in sight, seeing, it's like a miraculous thing. We see the object itself. We really become one thing with the object. So the Rebbe made it that we should be able to close our eyes and not see. That way, we can see it and not see it. If we would be forced to see it, then it wouldn't fit into the world. You understand? Even the sight is such a great thing, but even that, how does it function in the world? Only because we can close our eyes. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to live. We would have constant sight, be able to see, to live. So, the union from world means that it is not an essential. You know what essential means? A basic truth that must be, but it comes into being. Like light, what is light? Light comes from someplace. It is not a thing that is here itself. If you had the sun itself, which is the essence of light, then it doesn't fit into the world. And this is the principle that the Kelim are revealing the oil. Revealing the oil means that they draw from the essential oil, which is essence, from the nefesh. They draw that type of oil that can fit into the world. It is koya horiyah, it's koya horiyah horuchnis, but at what level, in what way does it come into the eye? In a very limited fashion. That I can see a physical object, and I can look at it and not look at it. I can open my eyes and close my eyes. The same thing in seichel. That's what it said, ha'chochma lahaskil. The moyach ha'mayach lahaskil. Lahaskil means that when I think of it, I understand it. When I don't think of it, I don't understand it. If I would always understand, this is not part of the world. This is something that's part of nefesh. It's not a real understanding. The same thing midas. Midas have to be revealed. Then it is part of the world. Then it is an experience in the world. And that's a pshat that the kelim megala the oil. Their megala is such an oil that fits into the world. Without the kelim, you couldn't see. They couldn't understand, they couldn't know anything. The nefesh would still have it, but it wouldn't be part of the world. It wouldn't be real. Okay? Those are the pshat, I know oil shall live here oils. The kelim are megala oil, but the megala means they're megala here oils. But the oil, the essence, the essential oil, the essence of the oil is concealed. What's nizgala is a limited oil that fits into the world. The kelim desesfira d'atzilus, specifically it means like this, that the kelim of esesfiras of atzilus, meirim, they shine umegalim oir ba'olam ho'atzilus. They reveal oir in the world of Atzilus. So that the oil that's in Atzilus, the oil itself, if the oil itself should shine in Atzilus, then there would be no world of Atzilus. It would be just oil. How does it become a world? What does world mean? Just like I said before, it could be, it could not be, right? That's world. The same thing is illustrated in world by saying, this is this place and this is a different place. This is a table, this is a chair. That's world. But if there's no hischalkus, if everything is contained together, everything, you have an oil that is all encompassing, that's not world. So that in order that should be atzilus, the oil has to be contained in a keli, so that you have many kelim. You have chesed, you have gvura, you have tiferes. If you didn't have the kelim, if you just have oil, it's not a world. Even atzilus is also a world. It has different kelim.
Have 10 olamot?
What?
10 olamot, like the 10 spheres?
No. It's one world, atzilus, and it has 10 sphirot. 10 sphirot, this is what makes it into a world. 10 different madregas.
So how many olamot?
How many olamot? What do you care how many olamot there are? Huh?
Kama olamot?
No, 1 second. That's not.
Okay.
How does it fit into this? How many olamot? You understand? In Olam Atzilus, we say the oil is in a keli, and this is what makes it part of the world. And if it were not in a keli, then Atzilus would not be a world. Ve'alidei haparso, and then as a result of the effect of the parso. Parso is like a boundary, a curtain. Hamafsekes ben atzilus libria, that separates, intervenes between atzilus and bria. Hareya megalim as ha'oir, then they continue, they megala, they reveal the oir, ba'olam habriya, in a lower world called bria. Umibrio liyitzira, and then from brio into yitzira v'kuli, etc. So all of these giluyim that we say that the kelim reveal oir, this is all revealing oir that they should fit into a world. Ve'ein ze bechinas giluy ha'oir k'moi shehu, but that does not represent the gilui, the revealing of the oil, k'moi shehu, the way the oil is itself, by itself. Now, was the truth of the oil itself. Sha'arein yizboir liyil, since that we explained previously, the ha'oir hu me'ein ha'moir, that the oil is of the quality of the moir, v'hu poshut betachlis, and therefore it is completely poshut, which means without any definition. And as we explained, the from poshut means it is higher than being defined. Obligvul, and it is without any boundary. And therefore, ha'oir be'etzem, the oir, in its own sense, self, einoi lefi erech ha'olemus. It is not, according to the lefi erech ha'olemus, it is not in proximity, it cannot relate to world.
If you look from the perspective of the Naor, so the Kelim, they was Kelim, but if you look from the world perspective, so
Kelim are Megal. That's exactly right. You can understand this concept. We see with our eyes, we hear with our ears, we taste with our mouth, we think with our brain, and so forth with all other kelim, right? when you come and say that you saw this cup, but you say my eyes saw the cup, or you say I saw the cup? I saw the cup. If you say I understand, you say my brain understood or I understood? I understood. And the same thing goes to all human activities, everything. This I, who is this guy?
The soul.
Who is this guy?
The soul.
Well, we'll see in a second. If everything he does is through some kind of a means, through a keli, right? The eye, the nose, the ear, the hand, the mouth, he's using, all of a sudden I, it's like I. Is he just grabbing all the koyach and saying it's mine? No. It's not grabbing it. It's very true and very correct to say, I understand and I see. Because even though that you see through the keli, but this keli, the oil that's in this keli comes from something higher, like I said, from the nefesh. And this nefesh is the eye. And everything that I experience, whether I see or hear or taste or feel, everything fits into a greater, higher person, higher nefesh, that encompasses everything. Except that over there, it's poshut. It's not identified individually. And that's why it's the same eye that sees, the same eye that tastes, the same eye that feels, the same eye the same eye. It's not a different eye. Tell me, if I see, so how do you say that eye hears? Or eye walks? I mean, we can do one thing because it's no difference. You don't feel that it's a different eye that walks or talks or jumps or runs, the same eye. Because this eye has all the koiches, but it doesn't have koiches. It's pshitus. Everything fits in perfectly. This is just an example, illustration of the concept of pshitus. And if this pshitus would be revealed not through a keli, then it would be a great thing, but it would be nothing there, no functional in the world, it would not exist. Because in that eye, in that pshitus, he sees and he hears and he feels and he talks and he walks all at the same time. He has all these qualities at the same time. They don't change in time and space. All human activities, all human sensation, all are processed in the same place. All are felt in the same place.
It's hard to imagine.
You don't have to imagine, but it's a fact.
Impossible to imagine.
Once explained an interesting thing, very simple. The Tzemach Tzedek says that the earth, all the Galgalim, Alamayla min hazman, alamayla min hamokim. Explains how come the earth, this is in the HaYom is brought down. How come the earth, like with the earth, are people here and people here? How are they standing up and down? They don't feel anything. There are all kinds of explanations, physical explanations, physics. But Chassidus, Tzedek says a very simple thing. It says because Galgalim are from Igulim. they come from a higher oir. That's called the Guli, where there is no Milo Mato. There's no Milo Mato. So when we stand over here, and the Australians stand over here, we both are on top of the earth. Because there's no Milo Mato. No time and space in the Gilgal. So I pointed out an interesting thing. The earth, we experience time or space in the earth. We have day and night, and we have all kinds of different periods. We have morning, afternoon, and evening, and so forth, and night, and all kinds of different denominations of time. We also have different denominations of the month, and different denominations of the year, like seasons. Winter, summer, spring, and fall. So, if we think of it, we'll see like this, that because we are in time and space, we live in a certain specific place on the earth, so we have all of these denominations. We have different times and day and different year period, different seasons, so forth. But the earth itself, the earth itself, the whole earth, on the earth, there exists at every instant, all the time, every denomination of time. In other words, it is morning, it is 7 o'clock in the morning, it is 8 o'clock in the morning, it is 9 o'clock in the morning, all the time, day and night, and all seasons. And the earth, it is always a midday and midnight, and it is always midsummer and midwinter, and all times in between. Because it's above time and space. And therefore it has all denominations of time and space at all times.
Specifically, the earth is higher than time and space.
What?
Specifically, the earth is higher
earth.
than time and space, but everything else is according to time.
Yeah, the specific, that which exists on a specific place on the earth, that's limited. But the earth itself is above time and space. Doesn't change. Bayas right now is the beginning of spring and summer. In Australia right now is the beginning of fall and winter. Exactly the opposite.
But it's still May by now.
What?
In Australia, it's May right now.
They call it May because we have one way of referring to the months. But in the middle of Sukkot, by them, is the same weather that we are in the middle of Pesach. Exactly. Hanukkah is the middle of the summer. The oil, in essence, is not lefi erech ha'olamus. And as we explained, lefi erech ha'olamus means that it can function within a limited environment. It comes and goes, is and not. Shekol oilam, because every world, we're not going to go too far, just want to go in a little bit. Every world, behechrech, it is imperative, it must be, shehu bechinas yesh ugvul, that it has a quality of yesh, of an existence, of a presence, ugvul, and limit. There cannot be a world that is ayin. Ayin is not world. Ayin is higher than world.
What happened with the upper ones?
What?
What happened with the alma di Galia? The alma di Galia.
Discassia. I mean.
Discuss. I'm sorry, discuss.
Even Alma discuss anything that's world has an aspect of yesh. Even Elam Ha'atzilus has an aspect of
Why
yesh.
are defined like infinite words?
What?
Why are they defined, described like infinite words?
I don't hear. What?
Infinite words. Why words or himself are described?
There are, when we describe worlds, Olam is in Soif, the word world over there is really what's called a borrowed term. It's not a precise term, but when we talk about the Olam, Atzilus, Bri, Yitzir, Asi, even Atzilus is a world and it has definitions. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a world. As Yesh and Gvul. And in a world, in order that something should be present in the world, it has to be limited. If it's unlimited, then it nullifies the world. Limited means that it can say it's here and not here. Then it's like we said, there is light and not light. Then it can fit and work in the world. Same thing in thought. I think and I don't think. I understand and I don't understand. If I have both, understand and I don't understand, then I understand. That's what knowledge is about. The previous moment I didn't understand, now I do understand. So then I have the experience of understanding. That exists. All right, gentlemen, this is it for today.